the Lionel Messiverse card, one of one, unique, no other card, right? Had a reserve price for $50,000 and it sold for $1.12 million.
The way of Will John.
Guys, what's up? We are back once again with, of course, a very special guest who's not asleep yet because he's on the opposite side of the earth, and we appreciate you fighting the sleep. I mean, I guess it's not that late, but guys, listen, we're going to dig into something within the crypto space that we have not touched on a whole lot on this podcast. So, Dave, what's up? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. How are you, my bro?
I'm great. I am great.
Yes.
We have a lot to talk about. I'm not going to do your intro, of course. You are going to tell us why you are qualified to tell us what in the hell is going on, who you are, and how you have such a cool accent, all that stuff.
I'll just rattle off my resume for you real quick. 10 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. That's the Australian accent that you hear. I run, I guess, a YouTube channel called Meet Dave. Started that back in, I think, February 2021. Delved into the NFT space around that time when it was really kicking off, and made a bunch of videos. One of my first videos that really popped off was how to create an OpenSea account, which is the marketplace for NFTs. You go to OpenSea, you buy, you sell NFTs. And that really set the tone for my channel. And from that point on, I made NFTs videos here and there showing people, how to create, how to buy, how to sell, what's the utility within NFTs. And and now it's becoming, it's simmered down a little bit, but it's still always an interesting and evolving space. So that's where my NFT journey began.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to take it back. So I'm going to assume that most people here listening have no idea what an NFT is. And you're going to have, part of the older generation thinking that this is nonsense. It's a bunch of junk. You're here, you're
JPEGs, pictures of monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. And why don't you take us through that? So, let's start at the beginning. What's an NFT?
Yes.
Why and why should I care?
Okay. So an NFT essentially stands for non-fungible token. Okay. The simplest way I've heard this explained, and I'm gonna steal someone else's explanation, but essentially, if I owed you $10, I can return that $10 using any other $10 note. Right? It's a fungible item. Right? $10 is $10, regardless of what note I give you. A non-fungible item carries with it its own unique code, its unique identifier. It cannot be replaced. If I give you a non-fungible item, I can't give you the same item. It's a one-of-one item. That's why it's called non-fungible as opposed to fungible. Okay? So within the NFT space, a lot of people see it as link it to art, right? So an art is a one-of-one piece. It's unique, it's digital, and if you buy and own that NFT, you own the digital certificate, digital rights to that piece of NFT, that digital item. And where it's scarce is the fact that it's usually one-on-one, it's unique, it's has its own identifier, you own it, it's linked to your account. And that's why there's utility in it, and we can go down that path. But that's essentially what an NFT is. It's a unique, identifiable digital item.
So yes, so another example in the real world, let's just say, of a non-fungible, not token, but an item would be, right, the Mona Lisa. Right, there's one. I can't cut up the Mona Lisa and give you a little part of it. It's not then still worth whatever. The Mona Lisa is actually worth millions of dollars, billions, whatever it is.
That's it.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of people relate it to art, right? Because there's only one Mona Lisa.
Right.
And in the NFT space, an NFT, there should be only one of that item.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then you made the example of these pictures of monkeys and whatever that they have going on. People are trying to figure out why these things are worth so much there. Can you explain that to me then? Why is this picture, even though I don't want it, right? Who's paying? Where's the value coming from? Why is it worth so much?
Bro, you want it. Trust me, you want this Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. Okay, so the real big explosion of NFTs are what's called these 10,000 or generative art. Okay, generative because it's computer code, it's generated art. It's it's just JPEG images that someone clicked a button and it spat out 10,000 images of these monkeys, right? It has different features. Some are wearing hats, some are wearing glasses, some are smoking, whatever, right? But they're 10,000 unique items. Why are they so expensive? It's the IP, it's the intellectual property, it's the brand, it's what comes with owning one of these monkey NFTs. Okay, no one really cares about the art. The art is whatever. It's
Okay.
nice, maybe it's not nice. It's subjective, but it's the idea that you own or you are part of this project that is building an ecosystem. Let's use the Bored Ape Yacht Club, one of the biggest right now. To own a Bored Ape NFT, it's probably going to cost you about $300,000. All right, that's the floor price of
Right.
owning one of these JPEGs. But when you own one of these JPEGs within the crypto NFT space, it opens doors to the community, right? You don't get access to the community unless you own a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. You don't get access to the perks, whatever they are. I don't know. I don't have 300K, lying around that I can buy one and find out for you guys. But eventually they're building an ecosystem around this that you only accessible to Bored Ape owners, right? They've got merchandise that you can only get. They've got virtual land that you can only get. They've also recently introduced a token called the Ape Coin, and only anyone that owns a Bored Ape gets airdropped that coin,
Mhm.
right? I think right now that coin is worth about $13 per coin,
Okay.
right? So it's also a form of passive income as well. So that's where the value is within NFTs, right? That's one. The other thing is, people flip. People just buy it, buy low, sell high,
Right.
that idea. But I'll give you another example. There's about 100,000 projects out there, right? It's just people just going nuts with creating NFT projects. But one of the original ones called 𝗪𝗪𝗡s, they released, again, a monkey, right? And they would airdrop anyone that owned a 𝗪𝗪𝗡 NFT 10 banana. Banana being the utility coin, the token, right? At one point in time, anyone that owned a Genesis Kong NFT would get 10 banana per day for the next 10 years. They wrote that into the code,
Okay.
right? And one point in time, one banana was worth like $140.
Wow.
And you
Okay.
got airdropped for free every
Everything.
day 10
Wow.
banana just
Okay.
for owning this NFT that you probably bought for $350.
Sure. Okay. So I mean, it does make sense to me. I mean, I'm equating this, and like we were talking before we started recording, of this is almost like, I mean, when we were kids trading baseball cards, having these type of things, but this is like on gasoline, like put some fire on the gasoline. You get so much more value for what your collectible than back in the day. I mean, owning the
Yes.
card, you had to wait for quite some time. I mean, now obviously with this, and obviously the space is developing. We're still in the early days, I know. and so I want to go down a couple, because we're going to get to the point of obviously how someone can create an NFT. I mean, obviously that video that popped off in the open sea. I mean, you've probably got plenty of videos on how someone, if they wanted to create their own NFT, do you suggest people do that? I mean, let's just go there right now. Like, say, I heard you just talk about this board. What was it? Bored Ape
Yep.
Yacht Club?
But
Yep.
Bored Ape Yacht Club. Yeah.
So, like, what if I want to create my not Bored Ape Yacht Club and like make it, and make it like the dopest
you
thing?
can.
Okay, so how does that happen? And is it worth it? Do you suggest people that want to get into the space, do you suggest they create something new, or do you think how do they go about this?
This is the problem. This is the problem with the NFT space now. With the amount of money that's being made and flowing into NFTs, attracts all the people that want to con, scam, and steal money from others. Do I recommend? If you got a great idea, it's unique, and you're wanting to build a community, an ecosystem, you want to build something more than just selling pictures, then yeah, sure, why not give it a try? But the days of just chucking a project out there and making millions of dollars in return are over, right? People are pretty savvy right now. They've cottoned on to the fact that, yeah, there's just too many scams. Every week, someone's, rug pulling, millions of dollars from, people that are not doing their research. But yeah, look, if you wanted to create an NFT project, nothing is essentially stopping you from doing it. I looked at Fiverr. You know Fiverr, that site
of
where you
course.
can, yeah. So I looked at Fiverr, and people like are offering their skills, I suppose, their service of creating a whole NFT project for you for about $10,000, right?
Okay.
And
Is that cheap?
some people might think that
That's
some
okay?
people might think that's not, well, that's okay,
Hmm.
considering that if you do the work and you influence, you market, you can get away with millions.
Right.
So yeah, it's it's
Okay.
it's worth it. But literally all it is, it's an artist creating a set of images, right? And then selling it with a roadmap. The idea that if you buy into my non-bored ape club, this is what you'll get, and you will have to promote that, influence that, and write in the roadmap. If I buy into your project, what am I going to get? I'm going to get an image. Well, I'm not going to buy into it if I just get an image. What are you promising me down the road? You know. So the great thing about the Bored Ape Yacht Club is they've become so massive now, right? They've got a Bored Ape featured on Rolling Stones magazines. They've probably got movies out. They've got T-shirts. Their IP, their intellectual brand and property, is massive. It's
Right.
it's it's a global phenomenon.
So then, I mean, with that being the case, and it's obviously going to get more and more interesting because I even want to go down this route, and I probably should wait, but I'm too interested because we every once in a while there's this talk. Obviously, the metaverse is here, or let's say the metaverse is coming. Now, within the
Yes.
NFT space, one of the most interesting things that at least
Yes.
I have been, and you touched on this earlier, virtual land and stuff like this. This sounds pretty cool, right? But it's only going to
Yes.
sound cool if we all buy in to the whole
Mm.
Web3 metaverse world.
Yep.
Because if eventually
Yep.
we are all coming home from work or wherever, putting on our goggles or whatever it is, or maybe it's augmented reality, and we're always living in
Yep.
in that space. And I own, a soccer field.
Mhm.
I own the stadium that everybody meets to play in the virtual world. That sounds okay. That sounds cool, but only if we all do that. I mean, are
Yep.
we at a point now? Because that's where NFTs would make sense. I get it. I
Yes.
own this property within this,
Mhm.
space, and we are all actually going there. I get it. I
Yep.
charge tickets. I charge a price. I charge whatever.
Yep.
0.1 ETH to come into my place. Whatever.
Yep.
So
Yep.
how do you see this playing out? Are we so far? Are we too early for this, or how does that connect?
Let me ask you: Do you think that will happen? Is that inevitable in your mind?
It
That we
seems
will
like
come home from work, put on our goggles, and all that stuff.
the problem is that it seems like it's inevitable, but it
Mm.
seems like Google Glass happened, and that was a shit show. That didn't work. And
Yep.
then they've been pushing the virtual reality things. We got to get the prices down. We got to get more people into it.
Yeah,
It
the
seems,
Oculus.
yeah. So when I say it does look like it's inevitable, but we've been saying that since what, early 2000s,
Mm.
or what? So am I going to see it? That I don't know. Like, am I going to care when I'm 100 that they're in the metaverse? I don't know. I can't
Mm.
tell if it's going to
Yeah.
happen or not.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you. I think it's inevitable, right? I think it's going to happen. I truly believe with crypto, decentralized finance, metaverse, it's going to happen. I quote Elon Musk and say that we will be living in our computers before we be living on Mars, right?
Okay.
Like we're essentially living in our computers now. We have virtual profiles. We have, virtual presence. We have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. We're already living our lives within a metaverse. The next metaverse, when we put on our goggles, our virtual glasses, whatever, it's the logical next step. And whilst Google Glasses was a shit show, so was the first mobile phone.
Mhm.
So was the first iteration of the internet. Yeah. They were all kind of crappy.
Right.
But yeah, it's inevitable. And what you say about virtual land, are we early? Yeah, we're early. Of course, we're definitely 100% early. But that's where the allure of NFTs are and making money is. You got to get in early, right? And you got to hold, and you never know where this is going to take you. But it's the true believers that will make this space happen. And yeah, people are buying virtual land in Decentraland or Sandbox. That's the other, platform
Can you
out
explain
there.
those? Yeah, I've seen Decentraland. Can you explain for some people, like, they're like virtual
So
land? What do they mean?
yeah, so Decentraland and Sandbox, they're like first, I guess you got to explain the whole idea of this metaverse, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They're a metaverse platform. So the metaverse is just this idea that we'll be living in this virtual universe, virtual space. And Decentraland is a platform that offers you this virtual space for you to live in and play in and do whatever you need to do. Sandbox is another one. And they're selling virtual plots of land for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, it's finite. If you own a piece of virtual land, you'll be able to build whatever you want to build on it. If you build something really cool and people want to go there, you can charge them real world money for it. So yeah, these that's not the only metaverse platform, though. Like we said, this is the wild, wild west. There's ones, popping up every single day. But the first comers, the first ones to do it, will probably be the most successful ones.
So wait, I have a question. Just sorry to interrupt, but this is something that I've never
No.
considered. But when we speak of the metaverse, because right now when we look at the internet, there's the dark web, there's the deep web. There are different levels of the internet with which we can access, but more or less we all just get onto a computer. We get on the same internet. So for the metaverse, when we talk about Decentraland, right? Like that's their own thing. What's to stop someone from just being like, all right, well, they have Decentraland. Like, I'm just going to make another Decentraland over here that looks exactly like that one and start selling. Like, are we going to have 1 million, or is it going to be more like one's going to win, right? In the early days, Facebook versus MySpace, Facebook won. Is that what we're looking at, or
potentially? But the market governs that, right? I mean, similar to MySpace, and then Facebook came along, and then why did everyone shift to Facebook? So the market governs that, and Decentraland has to govern that as well. Like Decentraland has to make it unique and appealing for people to shift over from Sandbox or any other platform. And it's not to say there can only be one or two, but there'll most likely be, a few more dominant ones. But yeah, other than the legal ramifications of copying IP, potentially there's not much stopping people from creating multiple different platforms. But like I said, the community governs that. The community will gravitate to where there's most interest and most people. You're not going to go to a metaverse where there's only one lonely guy sitting in the corner chatting to himself. You're going to go to the most popular one. So that's just how
that makes sense.
It works.
That makes sense. And then with that in mind, I'm curious, because people are going to look at this space and still, like you said, we are in the wild west. I mean, obviously people like to compare this to the 90s and the .com boom and all the stuff that happened there, and the amount of companies that just disappeared overnight virtually is insane, right? And we can't know that, and like you said, the market is going to determine that. But even one step further, I want to just give someone a better idea of, when we're talking about the metaverse, are we specifically saying, though, because Decentraland, you don't need goggles, I don't need augmented reality, or I don't need anything, right? I can just go to my computer and just move a little avatar around, right? And that's me in that place. Okay. But that's not the goal, right? I mean, that's not really what we're all
that's just, like you said, it's the early days of the internet, right? We're comparing to that. For example, I think in February they had the Australian Open tennis tournament, right? And they bought a Decentraland space, and I was invited to go to the grand opening of the Australian Open Grand Slam tournament in Decentraland, where I could watch tennis games, like real life tennis games on the Australian Open, via the screens within Decentraland. And had I had a virtual Oculus, virtual reality glasses, I could have been there first person view and watched the tournament virtually through Decentraland. I could have done that.
Okay.
But that is the rudimentary beginnings of something that we're expecting down the road. Technology is exponential.
Sure. I mean, and that's what I was going to take it to next as well, because in my head, that sounds amazing. Like, we're thinking about like the World Cup, for football, soccer is coming up here, later this year. And like, imagining an ability, if we all did have these virtual goggles, or just we had this way of reacting and like where I could put on the goggles and actually be at the front row. Like, they could set up the cameras in a way that allows me to, instead of going to the game, that I could go there and look and see, even if my dad is in the US right now, I'm in Europe, but we want to go watch the game together, we can meet. like there, and I could look
Yep.
to my left, and it could be like we're actually at the game.
Yeah.
That's where I think we're wanting to go, and that's what that as a functionality sounds cool. That
Yes.
makes it great. I can experience a game or a concert or something
Yes.
and we're
Yes.
physically miles and miles apart.
Yes.
That's what I
Yes.
see. But I see that more as a winner for the virtual reality goggles type of thing. I'm at my house, I'm done, ate dinner,
Yep.
go to the game,
Yeah. And just like you imagine that and how much you think that's awesome, millions of other people will think that's awesome, right? And like I said, the market will dictate that. If millions of people want that, some genius out there will make that and make billions of dollars off that. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And like that's why I say it's just inevitable. Of course we want that. And if I put on my tinfoil hat for a second here, the pandemic has escalated that want within people. I haven't been able to visit, my cousin, auntie, uncle, whatever, miles away. I haven't been able to travel. Now there's an alternative means. That has escalated that desire within people to connect again. And, this is the space where they can potentially do it.
So how do you feel then? Because you mentioned Elon Musk. How do you feel about the Neuralink and what that is potentially going to do to us? They're related. I mean, obviously, this is not necessarily the NFT space, but it's still within that genre and world and the change that we're all going to have. This transhumanistic type of society that we're trying to, or that we're just moving towards, whether or not we're trying to or not. It just seems like that's where we're going. We're not going back to horse and buggy.
I know.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm cautiously looking forward to it. But it's scary, right? It's Black Mirror type stuff.
Totally.
It's I mean, any quote unquote normal person should be worried about the fact that you can have something implanted in your head where you can telepathically speak to others. I mean, come on. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so same like you. Sounds cool. Sounds like an interesting thing. But let me just have a little, let me just plug it in. Let me take it out. I don't know that I need a Neuralink. It sounds insane. It sounds really cool. It's science fiction-y, but there's so much danger, I think, in being plugged into the internet all the time. Yes. I don't know we're completely changing the species. Not that we're not changing already.
We're already there in a way, right?
True.
Like how long can you live without your mobile phone?
True. I try to avoid. I'm a huge meditator. I gotta disconnect. I try to be away from it because I think that part of the issue with linking in and being in so much is that you lose the ability. Just like this, I always quote this thing, but they did a study on cab drivers in New York. They were studying the effects, I believe, of Alzheimer's, and what they found is that these cab drivers from this is probably 10 or 15 years ago. They were in their 60s, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. These guys, their hippocampus. They're huge, which is the hippocampus is the part of the brain that studies spatial memory. So these guys had to take tests. Back in the day, and I'm not sure if that's still the case for the cab drivers, you had to take a test, and you basically had to know everything, routes, theories. So these guys have within their head a virtual understanding of where to go, what streets, the little mini streets, and all that stuff.
Amazing.
Of course, change it to now when we have Uber and Lyft and all those things. The people are not learning any of that because there's no need for that. Mm-hmm. And what they had also found was that the decrease in an ability to do so was actually being linked to Alzheimer's. And so I question and wonder, not that it's all great. Of course it's great. It's not like I don't use my phone for things like that, but it's like I remember when I knew everybody's numbers. Now, no kid knows anybody's number.
Yep.
It seems that the abilities that we have within our brain to do certain things are there only if you use them. The second you don't use them, your brain's like, well, fuck this. Like, I don't need any of this anymore. Yeah. And so
use it or lose it, right?
That's it. And now when I've got the whole entire knowledge of the entire human race plugged into my brain, I wonder, do I need to do anything ever at all? It's like, I don't have to wonder. I can just pop it and what that feels like. I don't know.
Yeah. Mate, we're starting to talk about some dystopian society in the future. But you're right. That's and you're giving tangible example like research that has showed evidence of the hippocampus shrinking because we're using technology too much. You don't have to remember routes anymore because you got Google Maps, right? And eventually, everything is just going to become too easy. right? You don't even need to get out of bed to watch the World Cup. Just to lie in bed, just put on your goggles.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't go
it,
to work. Don't do anything. Yeah. I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
mate.
You know,
Look, it's scary. It's scary.
yeah. Well, then,
It's
okay.
scary.
I'll even bring it back since we're talking about all that stuff, which is fascinating for me. But within the sports space, for NFTs, what have you
Mm.
seen actually? Have you seen anything that like that we should be kind of looking at, tipping our heads towards within the? It doesn't even necessarily have to be soccer space. I mentioned that we've got a guy in our company, B, who
Mm.
is all about the cards and baseball,
Yep.
football. Was it Top Shot?
Yeah.
Top Shot? Yeah,
Top, yeah,
yeah,
NBA Top Shots.
yeah.
Look, when the NFT space kind of started with collectibles, like you
Mhm.
said, traditional football, physical cards, but now because people believe that we're moving into this digital space, this metaverse, that eventually we'll be living in this virtual space, we might as well start collecting virtual goods. Okay. And part of it's flexing, be like, hey, look at this virtual card that I got. I actually own it. It's on the blockchain. I can verify it has a unique transaction ID. I've got it. Right. And because I know you're a soccer guy,
Mhm.
I looked at some, soccer NFTs that were sold. So there's this in August last year, the Lionel Messiverse card, one of one, unique, no other card,
Mhm.
right, had a reserve price for $50,000 and it sold for $1.12 million.
Wow.
Right,
What
it's a
was it exactly?
virtual
It's just a
card.
card, just a virtual card, nothing more. You don't get
It's a
anything
virtual
else.
card, nothing more. No, you just owned a virtual card that was designed by a famous artist.
Okay.
What's his name? Um, he's a famous artist that designed. He worked for Marvel Studios, so it's at least designed by a famous guy. Oh yeah, his name is Boss Logic, right?
Okay.
And it's a one of one unique card. He didn't make any other card. He just made that one, and yeah, it sold for 1.1 million. The thing is, within this NFT space, there's always some baller that wants to flex and
Right.
spend ridiculous money on a virtual card. And I totally understand people struggling to wrap their heads around this digital JPEG when I can take a screenshot, blah, blah, blah. You know, but you got to zoom out, right? You got to zoom out. If you believe that we're heading to this metaverse, this digital world, this digital land that we're all going to be living in, well, that guy's going to own the Mona Lisa of Lionel Messi cards. Like he's going to own it. It might be worth much more than that in the future, right? So that's what we're talking about, and we're talking about NFTs as in virtual land, virtual cards, just anything that you can own virtually, that you can buy virtually, can be an NFT.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's all it is just proof of ownership of a digital item.
Right.
That's all it is.
And yeah, it's it's tough to for a lot of people. I can imagine, even for me at the beginning, to wrap your head around owning this virtual thing. Especially like you just said, you just gave that example because people were like, okay, so you own this board ape, you own that
Mm,
image, great. I'm going to take a screenshot. And
mm,
now I don't care because normally we equate ownership with like I own the Mona Lisa and I'm not letting you in my house to just take pictures of the Mona
mm.
Lisa. You got to pay me up
Yep,
front. You can't just
yep,
distribute it elsewhere, and so I can enjoy
yep.
that. And so I can understand how people kind of have that,
Yeah, but
little.
they don't own it, right? They take a screenshot. That doesn't mean they own it
No, not at all.
because
Right.
I can verify that that guy owns it on the blockchain. The blockchain is essentially a ledger, a database, and I can see the time, the date, the transaction that he bought it at, and I confirm that yeah, it's his. You can take how many screenshots you want, but it's linked to his Web3 wallet, right? It's linked to him, so he can verify that.
What
There's no
happens?
disputing that.
Yeah, for sure. But for sure that there's no dispute. But the question I wonder is everybody that's taking screenshots.
Mm.
Does he then? I mean, if any money is made on that, will that then get reversed back to this guy? For instance, I take a screenshot and I just
Well,
display it at the World Cup and like, hey, here we go. Does he get
yeah.
money or do I get money? You know?
Well, that's where the legal regulation needs to come in place,
Uh
right?
huh.
Like we mentioned, NFTs, Wild Wild West, still very early. People making off with millions of dollars of other people by scamming them, and nothing's being done
I
about
see.
it.
I
Right,
see.
this is the Wild Wild West. I looked up a story before I came on, and this NFT project called Frosties made off with about over $1 million of people's money that believed in this project, right? and 2 people have been arrested and charged in the US for that rug pull. Like 20-year-old guys scammed hundreds of people of their money and have now been arrested. So that's kind of one of the kind of first instances of legal ramifications of someone doing something illegal within the NFT space. I don't know. If you take a screenshot of the NFT that I bought, maybe I can take legal action. But
I see.
That's what I mean. It's
I see.
still new. Who knows?
Too early. Yeah, I see. Okay. I kind of want to talk about next, since you were talking about the scammers and stuff like this. I remember reading an article or seeing a video about the fact that some of these NFTs, like you just mentioned, the Messi trading card starts at 50, gets sold for 1.1 million. We don't seem to have any issues, right? When a diamond, I just talked about in the last podcast, I talked about a blue diamond that was sold in Hong Kong for about, I think, $60 million, right? And
Nice.
that's simply perceived value, right? I mean, that diamond isn't going to go out and solve anything. It's not going to do anything, right? So we don't seem to have a problem with that. I guess it's because this stuff is new, and I have seen some of these, and you will definitely know more. Is it possible that, and I don't remember the technical term, something about washing, washing, where you're essentially buying an
whitewashing.
NFT. Is it whitewashing? No, I don't know.
No, I think there's something else.
Okay, they have an NFT. They're essentially buying it and rebuying it to drive up the price, right? Because you could do it anonymously, right? I can have a different wallet and I can put my NFT up. I can buy it, and it's sold for $100, and then somebody else bought it. Oh, they bought it for $100K, and then I just it's just my money just kind of washing over and over again to drive up the price. Is that a huge issue, or what do we think?
Yeah, well, again, because it's the wild west, people do that, right? It's manipulating the market essentially, because when you create your non-board ape club NFT project and there's not a lot of interest, let's say, so what you do is you create multiple wallets, but you own those wallets, and you essentially use your own money to buy your own NFTs, which makes it appear like there's a lot of interest, a lot of hype. And not only that, you're buying your own product and you're raising the floor price, right? The floor price is the lowest price of that NFT. But so you buy it yourself, and you're making it seem like there's multiple wallets buying this item, but it's just you, and you increase the floor price in hyping it up, and then other people jump on board. They will influence. Hey, look at this non-board ape club project. Look at the floor price; it's exploding.
Yeah,
when literally it's just Will at his computer, just
Ching, boom, boom, using my diamond money.
Yeah. That's it. That's it, right? And I'll tell you, there was another video. Do you know Gary Vee?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Gary Vee is kind of big in the NFT space. He's big in other spaces, but like more recently, he's just been hyping up NFTs a lot. So there's a video with MrBeast, Logan Paul, talking about Gary Vee, calling them on the phone at like midnight. Gary Vee goes, hey, you got to get on this phone. You got to get on this call. MrBeast jumps on the call. Logan Paul's on the same call. It's a conference call. There's other like 12 other ballers, high rollers, people, whales with deep pockets. Gary Vee goes, hey, you got to shut the hell up. Listen to me. You got to get on to CryptoPunks. Got to get on. Buy as many as you can. Okay? So they get on. They don't know what the hell Gary Vee is talking about, but he's a friend. They trust his advice.
Yeah.
They start buying CryptoPunks. The price of CryptoPunks goes up, right? MrBeast is an influencer. Logan Paul's an influencer. Influencers out to their millions of followers, and CryptoPunk explodes. And there's the moral of that story, or the question, or the dilemma is there a form of market manipulation going on there? Is CryptoPunks really that unique and special, or did he make it special because he got all his, guys to buy it?
Right.
Did he manipulate the market there? And I don't want to point fingers, but that video is out there in the internet. If you want to watch it and make up your own mind on what you think happened within that NFT project there. That's the space we're talking about now.
I see.
It's crazy.
I mean, obviously, as things get going and get on, it's going to be hard because we won't have as much volatility as this becomes such a stable world and stuff like that. It'll be much harder to just call two really big influencers and just say, all right, just, put a couple mil in,
Mm.
and we're good. To answer that, obviously I don't know the answer myself, but it would be nice if that NFT or whatever it was, because I don't know what crypto punk you're saying, right?
Yep.
If it had some sort of utility, if it had this amazing utility option and thing behind it that was providing all this
Yep.
stuff, then it would be easy for us to say, well, you know, if it solves cancer, then we can't talk about it being,
Mm.
you know, bad or
Mm.
overvalued or whatever.
Yep.
If
Yep.
it's only, if we're only interested because the two biggest influencers on the planet
Mm.
have said that it's interesting, then it just sounds like a giant
Yep.
house of cards that's just ready to just fall apart when we all go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, there's nothing
Yep.
to this.
And people equate NFTs to that. Like if people equate NFTs to like a massive Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme.
Mm.
You know, the theory that what's it? The greater fool theory, where you know you're literally buying something in the hopes that the greater fool above you will pay more money for it.
Right.
You know, and this house of cards will eventually collapse when people realize this is the argument. I'm not saying this is the case. The argument is that people eventually realize these are just JPEGs, digital code that doesn't mean nothing, and then it crumbles.
Yeah.
But I think the Bored Apes are showing that there can be utility in it. Like, you know, you own one and you will get perks. There's people have made millions of dollars, so there has to be some form of utility in these things.
Right.
You know,
But
money doesn't just
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's not. It's not like just generated out of thin air. Like there's a teams for genuine NFT projects. There's teams doing stuff in the background to kind of get. You know, Coke didn't just become Coke, the brand of without people doing work in the background. You know, so Bored Ape guys and a lot of other projects are doing stuff in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because I'm sure maybe they didn't even know the roadmap of where they expected to be when they first started it out, and then adding value on after. I have nothing wrong with that. You know, I see nothing wrong with that at all. In general, is that you start and then you know, boom, now you can get into this. You can actually go
Yeah,
to a yacht club and go to this, and you have real
yeah.
world, all
Like
sorts
any
of utility.
business, you evolve.
Right. Yeah. You start small and you do this. And some of them grow so quickly that it seems like, okay, you're not offering the same amount of value. And I completely get that.
Yep.
So I don't think that this space is just going to die. It's it seems very obvious that even though the interest might wane a little bit, it's going to have its place within the entire crypto space. And so I want to throw the question up to you. If you could have some advice for young guys wanting to get into, and I'm going to open it up to a general into the crypto world, not just NFTs, what would you advise some guys to do to dabble their feet, to just touch their toes in? How could someone and where? Because it's like within this NFT space, it seems like there's so much to get in.
So much.
Right. So how
so
do I
many.
start day one in the crypto or NFT space? Like, what do I do?
It depends what your interest is at the moment, because the NFT space is split up between digital land, you know, digital projects. Just if you're interested in a niche area within the NFT space, just look at their roadmap. But I really struggle to offer advice only because there's so many cautionary tales that you need to look out for, right? In the NFT crypto world, anyone can be anonymous. There's a culture of we don't need to show you who we are, or you know who's the team behind this project. We're just anonymous. We're pseudo anonymous, and that's where the danger is. That's why I really struggle with shilling or promoting. But if you're interested in an NFT, do some research on the team, do some research on the roadmap. You know, do you really believe in it? Be engaged in the NFT Twitter, be engaged in the community, you know, talk to those that are promoting this project. But at the end of the day, I have to say, none of that is guaranteed. There's projects that have ticked all the boxes. I swear to you, they've created LinkedIn accounts that have been faked. Right? They've got bots in their Discord chat that are just chatting to you, and you think they're humans, but they're bots, right? You got Twitter accounts with 20, 50,000 followers that literally say the same thing. Like there's a picture that gets posted, this is fire, this is lit, this is going to be amazing. That's why it's so cautionary to say that it's easy money. It's not easy money. Like don't be fooled by that as either. And if I tell you to go buy virtual land, it's like, do you really believe, or do you want to just take a dive? Yeah, you got some cash lying around. Hey, go for it. If you don't mind losing it, then and you believe that this is going to be the future, then go for it. But
So
if
yeah.
money is precious to you, then hey,
Then no.
of
So
course
yeah,
not.
I mean that is advice in and of itself. I mean, it does make it hard because when you're saying like, all right, go check out the team, go check out the roadmap. It's like in my head, I've got to go to somebody like you. Like I can't go check out the roadmap and go check it out and say, is this cool? Is this good? Is this bad? I have no idea, right? And so that makes it
No, but
hard,
90% of people don't.
right?
90% of people don't have any idea, and it's blind trust to a certain degree. It's blind trust. It's crowdfunding. That's essentially what it is. You're crowdfunding this NFT project because they're saying, "Hey, Q3 2022, we're going to launch this. Q4, we're going to launch this, but we can only launch if we, sell 50% of our NFTs. Until we sell 50% of the NFTs, we won't have the money to actually meet our goals."
Hmm.
All right. So you're helping us crowdfund this. If you
Sure.
believe in it, buy it. If you don't believe in it, don't buy it.
Right. And if they
That's
don't, and if they don't
and
sell the 50%, then sorry. Right. Is that it?
literally,
Yeah.
literally, you've got a picture in
Yeah.
your Web3 wallet that's just sitting there,
Nothing.
mate. You've literally just you've lost your money.
Wow.
And shout out to Shiba Society NFT Club that I'm wearing here on my shirt. But essentially, that's what happened to this NFT project.
Wow.
They launched about 2 months after. Developers ran with it. They pissed off,
Yeah,
right?
wow.
Left the community holding the bag, and gave it over to this other guy and said, "Hey, you look after it," right? And they moved on to another project, made their money, pissed off, moved on. And that's the problem. And now we're trying to revive this project. But I tell you, mate, it's
It's
nearly
hard.
impossible. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. And I want to talk also about the video game space, which is also something that has just gone crazy over the last, ten
Yeah, I
years,
forget
let's say.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so within one of the coolest, I think, utilities for an NFT, this, when it was explained to me, sounds like the most badass use is that, of course, most people will have played Grand Theft Auto or some sort of shooting game, Call of Duty, all these,
Yep.
there's Counter Strike, all these games, right? One of the coolest things ever would be to have a game, or to have multiple games, like, right, or maybe you own a car, let's say in Grand Theft
Mm,
Auto, and it's a unique car. The fact that you could
yep.
own that car and take that to Counter Strike, then to Call of Duty, or then to the Grand Theft Auto, or
Yep.
then to this world, where you would be the only person. It's not like, okay, I own this game and I own it within the game. No, there's one,
Yes.
and we're all playing the game. And if I want to
Yep.
sell that, and you want to now
Yes.
have the car, I can sell it the same way that I'd sell my car in this world, or sell my
Yes.
gun, or so I could build, or maybe I can build a tool in the game, and then I
Yep.
could sell it, and then you could go use
Yep.
that in Call of Duty and Counter Strike and all these other. Now that sounds incredible. Or like shoes, like I can even imagine, like in FIFA, like for a soccer game,
Yeah.
like you have some custom shoes. You're the only guy that can wear the shoes, and then I can sell those shoes, and now I can my guy can wear them now in a different FIFA.
Yep.
Like that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's a freaking awesome kind of topic you brought up there, because NFT Fashion, right?
What's that?
One of the major brands, they're called Artifact. They spelled it RTF, Artifact. It's called Artifact.
Okay.
But NFT Fashion, this guy Artifact designed NFT clothing, virtual shoes, and they were selling for tons of money, ridiculous amounts of money.
Where are they going?
The
Though?
shoes
Sorry.
look awesome.
Where, like, how are they being displayed? Though? I don't understand. If you're selling virtual shoes, putting on an avatar, or what how does that work?
No, not that. Just in a spinning, rotating
just
box.
looking, just some shoes. Okay, 3D looking.
Yeah.
Shoes.
Yep.
Okay.
And then also when you introduce augmented reality, you can kind of put your, camera there, and you can kind of see yourself wearing the shoes, these virtual shoes on your feet. So that's kind of coolish as well. But yeah, NFT Fashion, he was selling hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of virtual designer clothing, right, under the brand Artifact, and Nike bought it. Nike bought the Artifact company, right? For I don't even know, like probably
Yeah.
$500 million or something ridiculous like that.
Wow.
But again, NFT fashion. And to link into what you're saying, the NFT gaming space, it's called like play to earn, right?
All right,
It's
what's that?
you play our game and you can earn cryptocurrency. And that's a form of like, I don't know, passive income. You play a game, you enjoy it, and you earn money. But yeah, selling digital NFT guns, swords, characters, that's where a lot of money is also being made in the NFT gaming space. I agree. Imagine being able to buy a special rainbow colored Lambo with flames
Yeah, there you
going
go.
out of the exhaust, right?
Right.
This is the metaverse. Anything can happen, anything goes, right? So imagine owning that and being able to use it across Decentraland and then into Sandbox. And then if they manage to partner up with Rockstar Games, yeah, sure, GTA,
Right. Yeah.
right? Who's to say they can't, right? And then, sure, we'll then allow you to play it. And this is where partnerships come into play. But yeah, sure, we'll allow you to use that Lambo in Call of Duty. Why not?
Sure. Right.
This is the space that people are envisioning, right? Buy early, buy the Lambo early. You never know where it's going to go.
Sure.
The
question then becomes, though, it's like buy early. Well, like, okay, Bored Ape, we're late. But buying land,
Mm.
is there land available for somebody who's just an average citizen in the world who's just like, yeah, I got $150, or I got, or I'm going to save up.
I wouldn't say average person.
No,
I wouldn't
like
say the average person.
there's
No,
not.
in the more popular metaverse platforms like Decentraland Sandbox, we're talking, thousands.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
For like a small plot of land,
Yeah.
or like something that then
For a small plot.
So you own the plot.
Yeah.
This is with nothing on it, though, right? Is there the idea?
Yeah.
Then I have to. So are we saying then that I have to go buy some land? Let's say I want some land. I go buy this land for whatever, $10,000, $20,000. Do I then need to have a developer? Does someone else have to then come in to build something on top of that for me, or how does that? So yeah, I have to pay a developer to then develop something to then put on my
Well, you
land.
can if you want, or if you're bothered learning the skills to do it. But
Wow.
the argument is in the future, 3D rendered modeling people with the skills to do that will be the next multimillionaires.
I see. So this is like they're like the coders of now, or essentially, are these people?
Yeah, graphic designers that can 3D model, they will be contracted left, right, and center to create, whatever worlds. The thing is, just imagine, let your imagination run wild. If you can dream it, somebody probably out there has the skills to create it, right? And there will be a metaverse for adults only. There will be a metaverse for kids only. The market will dictate what it wants.
Yeah. That's really interesting. You bring that up because like last month I think we had Violet Myers, right? She's like top 15 porn star on Pornhub, right? So I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, I think I
did. You see? You catch that? Okay. The whole adult space though within. I think we've talked about this on one of our other podcasts as well. I mean, is absolutely going to go insane once they figure out everything with augmented reality, with virtual reality, or maybe it already is. I don't know. But within that whole NFT, what is that going to look like? Do you have any idea, any inklings of what they're trying to do within that space?
Look, I couldn't be too sure, but the general idea a lot about NFTs is it's all one of the utilities. It's an access card, right? It's just a membership card. If you own the NFT of here, one of the other big porn stars, Lana Rhodes. I don't know if you know about her.
Yeah, she's all over normal Jake Paul.
Oh, is she?
Jake Paul, or she did some interview with Jake Paul.
I have no
something like this. Yeah,
I literally didn't know about her. Like I didn't even know who she was. The only reason I found out about her is was she did a rug pull and she scammed her community. And so influencer managed to get people involved in her NFT project, which was literally images of her, cartoon images of her in different clothing styles, whatever. People bought those NFTs, and then she's just stopped engaging with the community, right? She was just like, oh, it's become too toxic for me. All you guys are just too much. I'm out. And she just left the community hanging. All these people spent hundreds of dollars on these access cards because this is what she promised. She said, if you own Alana Rhodes NFT in the future, you'll be working directly with me. You will be joining my direct community. I will help influence this community. I will allow you to do X, Y, Z. I will be primarily involved in this community. Some people are like, okay, there's
Right.
potential here. And then she was like, it's too hard, too much. I'm gone. I'm out.
Well, you gotta
Right?
wonder how much she was actually doing, though, right? I mean, what was too hard? I mean, maybe that's just an excuse, but like, she's probably not coding and building and doing anything. I don't know what it is she has to actually do. But then again, I can only also imagine what, like, when you say, "Oh, this got too toxic," I can only imagine what that actually, the level of toxicity might actually be pretty high on some of those guys.
Oh, look,
You know,
it's crypto.
yeah,
It's crypto. It was probably putrid.
yeah,
You know, and I look, I don't blame her if people are that
right,
disgusting and you're out, you're out. I look, whatever. But even like Floyd Mayweather's getting into NFTs now. You know what I mean? And what does Floyd know? He doesn't
sure,
know
yeah.
anything about
They
NFTs.
see money, right? I mean, this is the whole idea. The idea is that these people can find a way to earn more money or add more value, hopefully, right? Through
Yep.
being within those sorts of projects.
Yep. Exactly. But
Yeah.
but he has pull. There's legitimacy there where he says, look, if you buy into my NFTs, guess what, guys? Anyone that holds an NFT, my next fight, you get 50% off their pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Bang. There's
sure.
utility for you. There's
Right.
perks for you.
Yeah.
Right? You want to see it live, you get a percentage off. Whatever. There's different perks. That's why I say that it's access. Within the porn space, it's probably access. You
Right.
own a NFT and you get access to X, Y, Z, whatever it is.
So these things
That's
these things are like clubs, though. When I really look at it, I mean, when you're buying this thing, I mean, you're buying into what is a scarce club eventually, and it becomes more and more scarce by the more value that we have launched onto it, and then obviously as that rises, the less people can get in. Like once we're at 300,000, you've just ruled out the majority of the planet. So who's in?
They create like 10,000 NFTs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They create 10,000 NFTs, and some people may own 5, 10, 15, 20. And that's only one person. So it's very scarce. And not only that, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, Eminem owns one. Stephen Curry owns one.
Yeah.
Like all these famous people own one, right?
Okay.
And you think, what the hell does Eminem know? I don't know about a Bored Ape. Maybe someone from the Bored Ape team reached out to his publisher, or no, what are they called? I don't know. His people.
Yeah.
Publicist, and said like, hey, I know Eminem doesn't know shit about Bored Ape, but just buy this one, and then we'll give it to you. We won't even expect you to pay the 300K.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll give it to you. And what we want is him to tweet it, and then bang, Eminem's got a Bored Ape Yacht Club. Stephen Curry's got one. It becomes that elite group.
That's so weird though, because it goes back to what we were talking about. Because does it have value? Does it have utility? Is it good? Because I have I'm not talking about this with everybody, but like, I have a small issue with modern art at times because it's like there has to be we have to push for some intrinsic value, right? I mean, it's very hard to look at some ancient art, not all, but there was a time, obviously during, like, say, the Renaissance and all these things, where it's really easy to look at a painting and you don't know anything about art, but you're clear that the person who did this has to have some sort of talent. Like, you're certain that what I'm looking at, maybe I don't like it, maybe I hate it, but this guy is a genius. Whoever did this, and the same probably goes for a lot of music and composer. You don't have to like classical music, but it's like, if I told you to put that together, you can't do that, and you know very well that you can't do it. So when I look at the NFT space, not as a whole, but not just the NFT space, but modern art or some of the stuff where we just kind of take a slash of it represents my deepness. Oh, I'm so the pain that I went through. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna say it because it's like I'm an artist in my own way. I'm creative, but like, okay, but I wanna enjoy something that I know either I can't do, or it would take me another 30 years before I could even scratch the surface. And so I know that's definitely an issue for some people when they look at those and go, how come I can't feel it? Like, right. You see the symphony and you go, like, I can't do that. Something's here, right? That intrinsic value is what brings that high price, right? And so I know we're now here, and it's because everybody has access to it, right? And everybody can create one and all this stuff. But at the same time, like you said, I get it. If the market has market will decide. It's like if we just try and come up with this NFT and it sucks and we can't get anybody to to promote it because it sucks, then it falls off. But at the same time, I don't want a publicist, maybe, because to be honest, a publicist who has access to Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, Eminem, and Gary Vee can just call them and go, this guy who has a crappy NFT, well, if you just buy it, now it's something. So it's like, where's the balance? I guess that we're still in such early days that we don't have that yet, right?
Well, the checks and balances is the honor system. The honor system. Well, if Gary Vee calls up and says, hey, buy into this non-board ape yacht club, and it goes nowhere and it tanks, well, that's his credibility gone. So there's a system of integrity that is underlying all this. The influence, there's people that shill these projects. Like, they're risking their reputation here.
Sure.
And if they want to risk it. Sure. They might get a kickback, behind the scenes, but they're risking their reputation down the line. So, it's interesting that you say the intrinsic value of art within the NFT space. Well, guess what? Have you checked out the AI created art, machine created art?
No, I haven't.
It's freaking amazing.
Really?
And if you want to talk about some kind of stirring moment that you have within your soul, some of the AI driven art, it's good, freaking amazing. It's beautiful, right? I created a video on my YouTube channel about AI art, and there's you can create it yourself. You can do it yourself. You go to this website and you type in a few words. It's a bit more complex than just typing in a few words.
Sure.
There's some coding, but you type in floating clouds in rainbow angels, just in the style of Picasso, right? Just using these keywords, the AI machine searches the internet, brings all these keywords that you've mentioned, and then spits out this image.
Wow.
And a lot of it is freaking amazing.
That's fascinating.
And that's not even you doing anything. Like, no paintbrush.
Are you
no
selling
nothing.
that after? Could you do something with it after, or would you
People are selling it.
Really? Okay.
People have made lots of money selling AI created art on OpenSea, the NFT marketplace. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's insane. And I know that within the AI space as well, I had heard, it's been a while since I've heard this. I remember listening to a podcast that played AI created music. It was a little shifty, but it had gotten better. Like some of the beats and some of the things that they made, it's drawing on, it's not necessarily creating. I guess it's some sort of, it's taking everything in. You feed it all the music, all the stuff that's out there, and it kind of comes up with its version of it. And so it's unique in that sense. But yeah, that's insane. The fact that you can just type in some, give it an idea, and it's going to spit out its version of the best art.
Literally an idea, but not only that, you can tell it the style that you want it to. Picasso, give me a Rembrandt, give me a, whatever. It will create it within that style as well. So one could argue like physical art will be the most valuable because that's going to be the most scarce thing that will ever exist.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, imagine that though, because if artists and people stop learning, it becomes just like what are these Google Maps, right? I mean,
our brain's going to turn to mush.
Yeah, that's a problem though. I do think that it's a literal problem. I don't know if you ever read the book Deep Work by Cal Newport.
No, I haven't.
All right. So, and we've had a guy named Scott Young on the podcast as well. He basically, his claim to fame, he went to MIT. Sorry. He was going to go to MIT, or he wanted to go to MIT, and it cost too much money. And he was like, I bet I could figure this out. All the coursework was online. You just had to pass the test. So he took 3 or 4 years worth of school, and he basically crammed in a way that wasn't like a cram. He did it and he passed the test. And that required a very healthy amount of focus, right? And Cal Newport is this book, Deep Work, which is essentially that the ability to focus is being lost within our entire society. And that's, we already do have a split between the people who have the ability to focus and think critically and deeply for long periods of time versus the people who can only do it for a split second. Like it's gone. Like, they got to scroll again. They got to do this. And even when they're not scrolling, the ability to concentrate it's gone. It's lost because you're not training it. You're not practicing it. You don't have any.
Yeah.
Every single time you sit down is a break in your, in your thought. So
I believe that.
it seems like that's where we're going. And so you say like our brain's
Yeah.
gonna be mush. I think we're gonna have a pretty big split in society of the people who are just down with scrolling and doing everything and just being all
Yeah.
about it, and there's gonna be people, not in
You
it.
know what will be interesting, touching on your topic of AI driven music, right?
Mm.
People are writing music, like lyrical music, using AI now. And it's going to become so ridiculously simple for you and I, or actually, I won't say you because I don't know if you have any musical talent. Maybe you do, but I have no musical talent, right?
Okay.
It's going to be so simple for both of us to just literally write some keywords and it's going to spit out a whole song for us. And I wonder if people will be able to tell the difference and appreciate, real music,
Right.
something that's written by someone, composed by someone, versus something that sounds good but AI driven.
Yeah.
And where that takes our society when literally anyone can make decent, good music.
Yeah. Then who's going to be this? What's the separation going to be? I mean, it may be people with musical talent that can actually manipulate that, or maybe you get an AI thing and you're like, all right, I need to tweak this, that, and this. Whereas someone who has no talent at all, if they start tweaking it, it's going to start sounding awful again. Like as if they wrote it. So
that's the scary part. We don't want like talented people to lose their space within our society.
That's a huge issue. I think just across the board. And I remember talking to just on another podcast about the fall of Rome, and part of their issues. Of course, the fall of Rome didn't happen just overnight. There was a steep. It was a slow burn, and part of the issues was not promoting people based on merit. It was you have the wrong people in power who aren't intelligent or socially, they don't have any mercy, they don't have any empathy. The wrong people are in positions of power for too long, and it just starts to crack, and and eventually you've got the society who's following the wrong path. And then, before you know it, it's gone. And so I wonder, I don't know, where we're headed.
And that's the scary thing with Elon Musk being the world's richest man and buying Twitter, right? This is the guy that wants to introduce neural net, or what is it?
Neuralink.
Yeah. And he wants to give everyone free internet using his satellites. Great.
Sure.
But the richest guy in the world has already warned us about AI technology and the oncoming apocalypse of, robots and machines. This is what you said, the slow burn, right?
It's slow. And I mean, part of the issue is that and I remember having this discussion with Brett Weinstein, who's him and his wife are evolutionary biologists. And I remember saying, it's like, just like you, it's like, cool. That sounds cool. It'd be cool if we could just do this telepathically, right? And then we just put it out. That sounds cool. But we'll keep our distance, And I remember saying, I didn't opt in to this. We didn't do the little check mark thing that we do when you get your new phone or your new computer, where it's like, I'm not going to read all this, but at least I click and agree. You have no say whatsoever. We're headed down this path. It looks like we're headed there. You're coming with us. Your kids and your grandkids, they're all coming, and you didn't get to decide it. So just strap in and deal with it. Like that's more or less what we have, unless you want to go live in the middle of nowhere, on your, off the grid. That's your only other option, I think. I think you have to have an understanding of all these things: crypto space, NFT. It's all going to be part of your world. All the people, that I think that are saying like this is not going to be anything, sound probably like the same people in the 90s being like, this internet thing's going to pass. Like,
there's that meme. There's that meme about the article about someone, the article that says, what's this internet thing that will fizzle out, and look at where we are now, And no, but I truly believe this is where the space is going. It's the snowball effect of mass adoption, and you can see it happening. MasterCard buying a CryptoPunk, Twitter introducing NFT handles, Elon Musk being a big proponent of cryptocurrency and Doge. This is going to happen, guys. Like, if you want to dip your toe in, just just do a bit of research and throw a bit of money that you can afford to lose into a project or buy some land or whatever it is. It may go somewhere and it may not. And if it doesn't, that's fine. You
You
lose something
learned.
that you don't really care about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you might have
exactly. You
learned on the
learn.
way. I think that's probably the best way to, and the most healthy way to do it is like, don't bet your whole house on it. But if you do join a project, at least take the time to learn and take something from it. And that way, if this one does burn you, you'll at least go in the next one with a bit more confidence, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
And that's the truth. And look, 100%. I don't want to scare anyone, but it's not going anywhere. It's just going to get bigger.
All right, man. Well, listen, we will let you get some sleep over there. We will, and it's Meet Dave, right? Your YouTube channel is Meet Dave. We'll link to everything,
My YouTube
obviously,
is
down below. But
Yeah, no, it's Meet Dave. I appreciate the YouTube hustle, so you know how hard it is. Sometimes it can be really difficult with a 9 to 5 grind and everything else. But
yeah,
it's slow burn. It's a slow burn channel. So
yeah.
but that's what it is. Meet Dave.
All right, cool. Well, we will link, guys, to all this stuff. We'll link also to, if there's anything else that you think we should link to, just, let us know as well. We'll throw that, make sure in the description box
Awesome.
or in the show notes. And so guys can get started if they have more, if they want to see more and learn more. But thanks, man. This is dope. We'll have to have you on, to discuss more when we've got some more soccer minded stuff going on in the world,
Yeah, for sure, man. I had fun. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, no worries. All right, guys. We'll see you later.